Hello, my name is Mia Verdin, and before I begin, I would like to issue a trigger warning. This podcast contains the topic of suicide. If you happen to be triggered by that topic, please feel free to click off. If you have any thoughts of hurting yourself or suicide, please contact Kids Help Phone by calling 1-800-668-6868 or by texting CONNECT to the number 686868. You are not alone. Today, I'm going to be talking about the suicide rate in the Indigenous community. I'm joined here with my friend Sydney Clark. She is here to learn and ask questions that you may have. Métis, Inuit, and First Nations people living on or off reservations all have higher suicide rates than that of non-Indigenous people. These suicides not only cause great sorrow for the family, friends, and peers of the deceased, especially when the deceased is a young person, but also for the communities at large.
Why do they cause sorrow for the community as a whole?
Well, in small Indigenous communities where many residents are linked to one another and share similar personal and societal hardships, the impact of suicide is more pervasive and severe. Would you like to hear the statistics?
Yes, I would.
According to statistics from 1991 to 2006, First Nation and Métis had suicide rates that were twice as high as non-Indigenous people. From 1999 to 2003, suicide rate among adults in Inuit Nunangat was 4 times higher than all of Canadian adults, men being greater affected than women.
That's crazy. I had no idea it was that high. Do you know why this is happening?
It has been suggested that the Indigenous community's history of intergenerational trauma as a result of colonization and marginalization is the cause of the high rates in suicide among First Nations people, Métis, and Inuit. It has also been suggested that colonialism has had a significant negative impact on Indigenous people's mental health.
Give me some examples on how colonialism takes part in this issue.
Well, colonialism affects them by causing social, political, and economic inequities that contribute to the development of illnesses and give a negative impact on health.
Are there any historical or modern issues?
Yes. Suicide among Canadian Indigenous people has been linked to a variety of historical and modern issues. These include acculturation stresses such as loss of land, traditional substance practices, and control over living arrangements, the repression of belief systems and spirituality, the deterioration of social and political institutions, racial discrimination, and marginalization. In Indigenous communities, the absence of chances for self-determination has been noted as a suicide risk factor. Additionally, the removal of children and youth from their communities and homes and into residential schools during the 19th and 20th century had a number of negative effects on the Indigenous communities and definitely caused a spike in the suicide rate.
Give me a few more examples of what causes a spike.
Other things like communal suffering, like overcrowding and food insecurity, family violence and suicide history, early adversary and traumatic stress, mental distress and acute stress or loss, and so on are thought to be risk factors for suicide among Inuit.
Wow, I feel so much more educated now. Thank you for shedding light on such a serious topic.
You're welcome, Sydney. And to everyone listening, I hope you learned something about this topic that is very rarely touched on. Thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye!